Well, Savannah, let me just first say on behalf of everyone at Gilead I know I speak for, thanking everybody that brought remdesivir to this point. Most importantly, the patients and the caregivers that worked with us in the clinical trials. And equally, now that we have the data that Dr. Fauci articulated this week from the NIH trial, we're moving very quickly with the FDA. In fact, the collaboration with the FDA and with Commissioner Hahn and the team has been terrific, and I expect that they're going to act very quickly, and we are prepared as a company to make sure we get this medicine to as many patients as possible as soon as possible after that approval.
Well, everyone is, of course, understandably encouraged by this news, but as Dr. Fauci was quick to remind us, it's not a knockout punch, it's not a miracle drug. It did improve outcomes by about 30% for severely ill patients. What is the implication of that?
Well, I think it's important to note that this is a medicine that's really for the most severe patients. This is for hospitalized patients. This is for patients that have really progressed very, very advanced in their disease. And what we see here is really, of course, not a cure, but a very, very significant and important treatment for patients. So what the data showed and what Dr. Fauci spoke to this week is that we can significantly reduce the time it takes for patients to get better. And that's very important in the hospital setting. The ability to get patients out of the hospital, home to their loved ones, is very important. But equally for the healthcare systems that we also know are overtaxed at this time, it allows those healthcare systems to get back to treating the patients that are in need. So this is a starting point. And we're not done. We want to continue to see how we can expand remdesivir to more patient populations. And clearly, with other medicines and with vaccines to come, this is part, I think, the beginning of our ability to make an impact on this devastating virus.
Now, as I understand it, this is a very complex and lengthy manufacturing process for this drug. It's administered intravenously, as you mentioned, in the hospital setting. How much of it do you have? How quickly can you get it out there to patients once the FDA authorizes it?
Well, I'm really proud of the colleagues at Gilead that when we first became aware of this virus in January, first of all, we put our decades of antiviral experience to work, that same experience that was effective in turning HIV into a chronic illness and curing hepatitis C. We were prepared and ready for this virus because of some of the work we've done with remdesivir for the past decade. And at that same time that we put remdesivir into clinical trials, we also made the decision, before knowing it was going to be effective, to expand our capacity, knowing the global crisis this was, and knowing we would have to be ready in the event that this turned out to be effective for patients. So we have gone from around 5,000 treatment courses to today almost 100,000 treatment courses. And because of our investments early, we think we will get to millions of treatment courses by the end of the year. So this is really important. Our scientists have been very effective at reducing the time it takes to make this medicine. But it is, as you say, a sophisticated chemical process that takes time.
Let's talk about cost and affordability. I know that you have donated the first 1.5 million doses of this medicine. Going forward, how will you ensure that it is affordable and it is something that can reach not just this country, but a global population?
Well, Gilead, there wasn't even a question, I can tell you, at the company when we made the decision to donate the entirety of everything in our supply chain today. We understand our responsibility here. I mean, our responsibility to get this medicine in the hands of as many patients as possible and really try to make a difference in this pandemic. So we will continue with that same spirit and that same mentality as we go from hundreds of thousands of doses to millions of doses. And I can assure you that we're all focused on making sure that we make this accessible and affordable to patients around the globe. That's what's going to drive us, and we take our responsibility very seriously here.
Well, I am no scientist, and perhaps this next question will show it, but we mentioned that remdesivir is really for the most severely ill. Is there any application, is there any research being done to see if what works in a later stage of the disease could work earlier so that